Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video because we are going to be talking about my most used makeup products of 2019 thus far. So we are approaching the middle of the year, and I thought it would be fun to talk to you guys about the products in my collection that have gotten the most use. Now, of course, I am doing four project pans this year if you include the eyeshadow one that I'm working on. So obviously I'm reaching for the items in my project pan very often. I tried to limit the amount of items currently in projects that I'm talking to you about today, because you can just watch any of my project pan videos and you'll know what items I am using a lot. Now, I did mention if they're like a true favorite, I will mention them in today's video, but the bread and butter of today's video is just going to be all the makeup products in my collection that have gotten the most love so far this year. So if you guys are interested in that, then stay tuned. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so before you go. I post videos every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and without further ado, let's get into my most used makeup products. Okay, as per usual, I couldn't really be bothered to do much with my hair today, but I wasn't feeling the ponytail, so we're gonna go with my half up do, which I've been just so into lately. Clearly, I feel like I'm doing like the half up, half down thing in like every video. Anyway, you guys, welcome to today's video. Like I said in the introduction, we're going to be talking about my most used makeup products, not just of recently, but basically since the beginning of the year. Some categories I have as many as 4 items to talk to you guys about, and some I just have 1 or 2. So we're going to jump right into it, starting with primer. Now, like I said, I do have 4 separate project pans going on. So primer is a category that I have been really going hard on the items that I'm currently trying to pan. So thinking about it, like, these aren't necessarily like my absolute most used. However, if I had the option to like reach for whatever I want and it wasn't necessarily like panning, these are the 3 primers I would have been reaching for. I hope that's not cheating. I just want to basically talk to you guys about the products that I have been loving this year. First up, if you guys watched my ranking my entire primer collection video, these 3 won't be a surprise to you. But first up, we have First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Primer. I just have this little one. I'm going to purchase a full size once I get through some more of my primers, but this has been a favorite of mine for like 2 years now. Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I just have the little mini. I will purchase a full size of this when I finish this or when I get through some more primers. I feel like I'm almost halfway done with this one. This does an amazing job of increasing the like wear time of your foundation. It's a very unique texture, but I personally have really been enjoying this. And then this is an all-time favorite of mine as well. It's the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. It's just such a nice moisturizing primer. Absolutely love reaching for this. One of my all-time favorites. Okay, for foundation, I reached for the Dior Forever Skin quite a bit this year because I was panning it, as well as the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Both of those foundations I do love, but I've finished them, and these are probably my 4 other most reached for foundations this year. First up, we have the Rimmel Lasting Finish 24-Hour Breathable Foundation. I probably wore this for like a month straight when I first started wearing this. I really do love this foundation. I like to mix it with another foundation that I have to mention, which is the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir Foundation. I've gone through like 4 or 5 bottles of this. I think it is a phenomenal foundation. I really like the way that these two pair together. I had a darker shade. I had 720 in this, which was a little bit too light for me in like March-ish, so it paired really nicely with this Rimmel foundation, which I think I have in the shade, I don't know that Fair Ivory. This one's just a little too fair for me, so I would mix the 2 together, and I just loved the way those 2 mixed together. I got so much use out of them. These 2, definitely 2 that have gotten some really good use out of me so far this year. Then I also wanted to talk about the Clinique Even Better Makeup. Now, when I did my ranking my entire foundation collection, this ranked somewhere in the middle, and like right after I filmed this video, or that video, I started wearing this like almost every single day. So this got a ton of use from me, and I really actually do enjoy this. I think it's a perfect work foundation for me. It's not heavy at all. It's very lightweight, but it gives like a good light to medium coverage. You can definitely build it up to a medium. Lasts me a good amount of time, and it also is supposed to be good for your skin. I don't know that I've noticed any significant like difference in like my skin being better, but I really do enjoy this foundation, and it has gotten a lot of use for me this year. And then L'Oreal Pro Glow. I think this is like all I wore in January, I swear. This in the Pro Matte. This has been a favorite foundation of mine for years as well. I've gone through probably like 5 or 6 bottles of this. I always have a backup on hand. I always have like multiple shades of this. This is always getting used for me, so definitely could not film this video and not mention the L'Oreal Pro Glow. For concealer, I have 2 to mention. If I'm looking for full coverage, I have been going with the Too Faced Born This Way. And I also have, so concealers take me a really long time to get through. I'm currently panning 2. One of them I finished, which was the First Aid Beauty concealer, and then the other one is the Naked Skin concealer. So those have obviously gotten a ton of use from me. But the other one, this is newer to my collection, but I have been reaching for this so much since I purchased this. And if I'm thinking about the concealer in my collection that I want to reach for every day, it is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer. This is actually a concealer I could see myself repurchasing. And if you are not new to my channel, you know I've said before, concealer is a category that like I just feel like I haven't found that concealer that I like really vibe with to be my perfect everyday concealer. Now I do love the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, but for me, I'm not looking for such full coverage every single day. So I've really struggled to find a good concealer that gives like a nice medium lightweight coverage, but I definitely feel like I get that from this Laura Mercier one. I find myself wanting to reach for this every single day. So even though if you're like tallying the number of days that I've actually used this, because I've only had this since the beginning of May, it obviously hasn't gotten the most or isn't like my absolute most used. But if I'm thinking about the product that I want to use the most, it would definitely have to be this. For powder, I have a pressed and a loose. For loose, it would have to go to the Hourglass Veil Loose Setting Powder. I have used this quite a bit recently as I've been getting more and more into powders. I think I mentioned this recently, but I watched the Jaclyn Hill like Make Your Makeup Last All Day, and she literally layers on so many layers of powder. It's ridiculous and somewhat terrifying, but I found that it actually does work. And what I love about the Hourglass powder is it gives this glow to the skin without being like shimmery. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful finish. So I've really been enjoying this. And then for my pressed, this is going in my 2019 and 2019 project pan. I'm not going to open it up for you guys. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I like this, but I don't necessarily know that I would repurchase it for $45. I think $45 is a little bit steep for this. I feel like I can find cheaper powders that are going to give me pretty much the same finish. It is a really beautiful powder, do not get me wrong. I just don't know if I'd pay $45 for it again. For bronzer, I am mentioning 2, and both are going in project pans, but I mean, I've worn both of these bronzers just so much this year, it felt wrong to talk about anything else. First, we have the Becca Sunlit Bronzer. Again, I'm not going to show you guys what the inside looks like because I don't want to ruin anything for you. If I finish this, would definitely repurchase this. And another one I would definitely repurchase if finished is the Mira Mira Butter Bronzer. This is also going in a project pan. I love both of these bronzers. These would definitely be top holy grail bronzers for me. So highly recommend both of these. I have 3 blushes to mention to you guys. 2 are currently going in projects. One is my year-long project pan. This is the Essence Satin Touch Blush in the shade Satin Coral. Again, there's not a whole lot of progress to ruin for this because blushes take forever to pan. I've used this so much, you guys. Like probably at least 4 or 5 days a week I use this blush, and I don't know if you can even tell, but this is probably my absolute most worn blush this year. Close second to that would be my Hourglass Mood Exposure Blush. Again, it doesn't even really look like it's that used, but I have reached for this one so much. And then when I'm not reaching for project pan blushes, I have been reaching for the Buxom Seychelles blush so much this year as well. I've raved about this on my channel. It's such a beautiful bronzy blush. It's truly like a top dog, top fave of mine. So those are definitely my 3 like most reach for blushes. I didn't even have to think about this category. I knew immediately. Those are 100% my most reached for blushes. For highlight, the 2 that are going in my project pans, these have definitely gotten the most use from me this year. First, we have my Natasha Denona Glow Powder. I love this. I've raved about this so many times on my channel, and I've used it so much this year. One that I've used even more than that is the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Highlight in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. Again, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so I'm not going to show you. The subtle side of this has gotten literally so used and abused for me this year. 100% will repurchase this when that subtle side is complete. Favorite highlighter of all time. So beautiful. And then two more. At the beginning of the year, I was reaching for this so often. I haven't reached for it as much lately, but this is one of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting highlighters, and this is in the shade Euphoric Strobe Light. There it is right there. It's just such a beautiful, it's like a champagne highlight, which is like a hint of like a peach in there, but it's super light, so it works well on my fair skin. And I reached for this like all month, like February, kind of easing into March. This got so much use for me. And then right after that, I fell in love with the Becca Rose Quartz highlight, and I was using this non-stop throughout like March, April, and even into May. It just gives you like almost like a sunburnt, sun-kissed sort of vibe on the cheek, at least on my skin tone, and I was just like loving that. Still am. I probably have this in my everyday makeup basket all summer long because I just absolutely love this highlight, and it has definitely gotten a ton of use for me so far this year. Okay, I pulled 3 eyeliners to mention to you guys. This one has by far gotten the most use for me. I probably use this 5 or 6 days a week. This is the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil, and I have mine in the shade 2, which is just this beautiful chocolatey brown shade. This is like by far one of the best eye pencils I have ever used. $2.99, and this lasts in your waterline all day. I have super watery eyes, and I find it extremely hard to find a good eyeliner that's going to last in my waterline, and this $2.99 pencil does that for me. Same pencil, brand pencil. This was another one of the Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencils, and this one is in the shade 6 Silky Nude. So if I'm wanting to go for like a lighter, like nude cream shade to really open up my eyes, this is the one that I'm reaching for. And then this one I just recently purchased, but I have reached for this so much since purchasing it, so I wanted to mention it because I felt like this was a shade in my eyeliner collection that I was missing. This is from Urban Decay. It's one of their 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencils, and it's one of the Game of Thrones collaboration pencils in the shade Lannister Gold. Here it is right here. It's just such a beautiful gold shade. It's almost like a cool toned gold, and like I feel like if it catches the light right, it almost has like a greenish sort of reflect vibe to it. I've reached for this so much since purchasing it. So glad that I decided to pick this up, and definitely wanted to mention it. And even though I haven't had this that long, this is definitely like one of my most used eyeliners this year, along with these two. For eyeshadow palettes, I am not mentioning any of the ones that are going in my 19 and 2019 project pan. If you guys are interested in what shadows I'm using in that project, I'll leave a link for it. But I wanted to mention the 4 other palettes that I've been reaching for the most outside of those. Up first, we have the ColourPop Dream Street palette. I've been talking about this palette quite a bit lately on my channel, just in like recommendation videos of various kinds. It's just such a great palette for 18 bucks. I do believe you can still get the Dream Street palette, and I would just highly recommend if you like warm tones. Obviously, this isn't going to suit your like cool toned needs, but it's just so good, and I have like found myself wanting to reach for this so often, so definitely had to mention this. The Huda Smoky Obsessions palette, I have been in love with this palette this year. I have been really vibing with cool tones this year, and I feel like obviously so is a lot of people, and this just fits my cool toned vibe sort of needs. I've just been absolutely in love with this palette. Found myself wanting to reach for this. I brought this on vacation with me, and it is pretty much the only palette that I used on vacation, so that says a lot. Soft Glam, obviously. Had to mention an ABH palette. Love my ABH palettes, and this is by far my favorite in the range of ones that I currently own, so definitely gotten a lot of use for me this year. And then my Tartelette in Bloom palette. I just love this palette. It's just, I need to just purchase another one because mine is truly getting really old. It's one of the older palettes in my collection. I panned 2 shades in this palette this year. I panned 1 shade close to the end of last year, and I still find myself just like wanting to reach for this. It's just so easy. I wear this to work quite often if I'm like in a rush because it's so easy to create a look super quickly. This also has some cool toned shades in it, so it definitely helps me with my cool tone vibes, and I have reached for this one quite a bit this year. So for mascara, I'm pretty good at just like cycling through all my mascaras, but the mascara that I've loved using the most this year by far has been my Milk Kush mascara. This is just a little mini. I've mentioned this a couple times on my channel recently as well. In the past, I've said that I will not purchase full-priced, full-size mascaras for like high-end brands. Like I refuse to spend more than like $10 or $11 on a mascara. The Milk Kush mascara is what's going to push me over the edge to actually purchase a high-end mascara for full size, because this is so good. If you guys have not tried this, I would highly recommend. It lasts all day. It does a really nice job of giving you some volume. Usually I'll go in with a mascara to like lengthen and separate my lashes, and then I go in with this at the end to give me like volume. It also does add length, and it lasts seriously all day. So been really loving the Milk Kush mascara. Okay, so I have 3 setting sprays to mention. First, I have my Morphe Continuous Mist setting spray. I've re-fallen in love with this year, especially like in between makeup steps, just to really help melt all the makeup together. So this would definitely be one. Another is my Ofra Makeup Fixer setting spray. I finished that, but I used that so much this year, and I definitely will purchase another one of those when I use a few more setting sprays. And then this is a more recent purchase, but I have already reached for this so often, and I wanted to mention this as like the one that I reach for the most when I am going for a dewy look. Now I am currently trying to get through my Pixie Glow Mist, so I've reached for that quite a bit lately, but only to get through it, not because I wanted to. This would definitely be the one that I'm reaching for as like a want to reach for it if I'm looking for a dewy finish. Love this, super happy with this, and this is one that I do see myself repurchasing when I finish. And then finally, you guys, I have 2 lip products to mention to you. One is going in my 19 and 2019 project pan, but I had to mention it because this is the lip product that I feel like almost exclusively used this year. It's the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, and I have mine in just the original right here. I did end up purchasing the other 2 in the range Diamond Milk and Fussy this year, but this by far has gotten the most use. And then one that I've reached for a ton this year is one of the Dose of Colors liquid lipsticks that was in collaboration with Desi and Katie, and this is in the shade A Mauve Story, which this actually doesn't even really give me like that mauve-ish of the vibes. On my skin tone or on my lips, I feel like it just kind of like, it's like a Your Lips but better sort of liquid lipstick. I've mentioned many times on my channel, but the Dose of Colors liquid lipstick formula is one of my absolute favorites, so I have been reaching for this one quite a bit this year and definitely wanted to give it a mention. But after that, that is going to conclude my most used, most reached for, most wanted to reach for products of 2019 thus far. You guys will have to leave me a comment down below and let me know what products you've been using a ton this year. I would definitely love to hear from you. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.